Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope the weekend was awesome. I know it went way too quick, right? But hey, we're back together and we've got a great trip report. We're headed to Austin, Texas today to speak with Rebecca about her spring break trip down to Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. We talk about fun times in the theme parks. We also talk about the changes from Genie Plus to the new Lightning Lane system. We also talk about a lot of little hidden things you might not think about on your next trip, like Pick-a-Pearl in Japan or the animation class back in Rafiki's Planet Watch at Animal Kingdom. We go over to Blizzard Beach and talk about Ale and Compass over at Yacht Club. So lots of different things on today's show, and you got to stick around to the end of the show. We have a story about a proposal gone wrong at Narcoossee's, and I still haven't recovered from the story. It's pretty wild. So stick around and hope you enjoy today's podcast. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make this show possible. You're our VIPs. So thank you so much for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month, and you'll get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Coming over today, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2529 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had another great weekend here in July and that the heat is not too bad wherever the show finds you around the world. I know that we do have a lot of listeners down in the Southern Hemisphere, believe it or not. Lots of folks down in Australia, so hey, hang in there. I know it's the dead of winter for you guys. And actually, next Monday, just a little heads up, we are going to have a trip report from a listener down in Sydney, Australia. That's right. So we'll all be recording on a Wednesday evening. She will be recording on Thursday morning. So we'll be 2 different days apart and having a good time talking about what it's like to travel from the other side of the planet and get some perspective there. But that's next Monday. Today, we have 2 states that have come together because of one joining of a football conference. It's actually a big conference of many sports, but mostly football, as Sam Eagle might say. It's the SEC. And so we have our good friend Rebecca. She is down in Austin, Texas, which is going to make my friend Jimmy, one of the great agents over at the Magic for Less, who took care of my guests when I was on my cruise for a few days. It's going to make him extremely happy. This guy bleeds burnt orange. And I'm just going to have to... Horns down is legal in the SEC. They've just declared that. Kind of mean, but it's legal, Jimmy. So get ready, M-I-Z. But Rebecca's here. We're going to talk about her trip over spring break this past year down to Walt Disney World. Rebecca, happy Monday. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, happy Monday.
So how are things down in, well, you know, the nation of Texas, I guess you guys call it down there.
Toasty, as usual, but not too bad. Not compared to last summer.
That's good. I know it's been pretty, knock on, I always say knock on wood. I don't have anything that's real wood in this studio. It's like whatever they send us from Amazon for Mike. I don't know, what a particle board. Yeah. But, it's been relatively nice here for the past few weeks in the Midwest. And which means as soon as I said that out loud, just like with anything Disney, everything's going to fall apart. Sorry, it's going to be 105 and, the humidity is going to amp up as soon as this show comes out. So
I'll blame you.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
I apologize for that. But so let's jump into some Disney talk. So let me ask you, just instead of getting your background right off the bat, stuff that Disney's doing right now. What do you think? You're connected with the Disney company. What do you like with what the Disney company is doing right now?
Well, what I really love is all the different food offerings every time we go. We almost always go during Flower and Garden. Occasionally we'll go during Food and Wine. But we all love to eat in my family. So Same. We love, snacking around at Epcot. We like trying new restaurants. And I just love how it's not just like burgers and fries and hot dogs. You can find so many other different kinds of food offerings while you're there, and I really love that.
Which we'll talk about during your trip report here, because you guys really did kind of sample around. You did some nice table service, got some, snacks here and there, and it's going to be fun diving into that. What is something from the past you wish that maybe has gone away that you used to enjoy that's not there anymore? If you could bring something back, what would you bring back?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say probably the way they used to do Fast Pass, but I know that they just changed it sort of like to like a hybrid back.
Yeah, I mean, as of the day, actually, as behind the scenes, as of the day we're recording.
Right, exactly. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out and if that works as well as the old Fast Pass system. Because I'm very much a planner. I love planning way ahead. That sort of extends the fun of the trip to me when I'm doing those little bitty planning pieces. So being able to book them ahead of time is always fun, and planning for that, and having to get up at 7 a.m. and not knowing what I'm going to be able to have with Genie Plus always sort of made me a little anxious.
So were you, would you consider yourself like in the Genie Plus days, RIP Genie Plus, as of the show being available, but were you like a power user of that? Did you really get it every day, use it to buy individual lightning lanes, all that stuff?
We didn't often buy individual lightning lanes. If we happen to want to do a standby queue for something with one of those, we would. But there's only so much that we're willing to financially pour into skipping a queue. So we didn't often do that. Like with Tron, we successfully got the virtual queue. We weren't willing to buy the lightning lane because there was one day or individual lane, I should say, because there was one day I couldn't get it. And so we're like, well, guess we're not riding Tron today.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because we all kind of have to have those tough mental decisions during a Disney vacation, right? It's like, especially if you're going solo, it's not such a bad call, right? Because I'll give you an example. I've only bought one individual lightning lane in my life, and it was for Radiator Springs Racers at Disneyland when I was out there for the half marathon. But it's because I was flying out that afternoon and I had, like one left, I had like 3 hours in DCA on a ticket, and it was just me, right? I was like, God, I paid $18 or $17 to ride this ride. Is it worth it? But I'm like, I'm at Disneyland, like I'm in California. Right. I never get out here, and I just love this ride, and it's just me. But I mean, like you say, if you're a family of 4, you're a family of 5.
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking $100.
It's a little pricey to do that for every single time. So yeah, we don't usually buy those, but I'm very diligent about the, Genie Plus thing, like setting timers and, making sure that we understood. I can't remember what it's called now, but that last tap rule, like, if you tap in versus make a new reservation, like how quickly you can make the next one. It got so complicated. So I can't even explain to you now how that used to work, but I was pretty up to date on that when we went.
And I think too with the experience, and I will say just kind of off the bat, I mean, again, shameless plug, but we have the Clubhouse, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse, which is a real, live chat that's real time. And as of the day this show is being recorded, it was the day that the Genie Plus ended and the Lightning Lane system came online, and we have folks in the parks sending updates, folks that were making their reservations for the trips happening next week. And so we got so much great feedback within hours of the system going live, and strategies were developed in there. So if you want to check it out, just go over to the Clubhouse. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. And there's a search box in the upper right-hand corner. Just type in lightning lanes and boom, it'll take you. It's in the theme park channel. It's amazing. Cause I was following along all day because I had a couple things going on. And I'm just like, wow, like, I feel like I was a sponge because, again, awesome. I think what's kind of hard for like folks like us, Rebecca, and a lot of everybody that's listening here, is that this is like our third system. And so now we're kind of like I was a school teacher, right? So I know kind of like how you teaching and learning and stuff, right? I think it's easier to learn something from scratch. But when you're trying now to go from FastPass Plus, okay, I had a knowledge base. I was super comfortable with FastPass Plus. I knew the rules. I knew all the hacks. Then I went to Genie Plus, and I had to kind of modify how my brain worked with Genie Plus. Okay, different rules, Now I got kind of an amalgamation of FastPass Plus and Genie Plus, and now we're trying to figure out what are those. Because again, we want to be the people on the leading edge, right? We want to know, is there, how close can we get our 3 choices, and How quick can we tap in for the, after the first one, we can go after the next. We want to know the strategies, and we're learning that right away. We'll have it. And it'll be old habit here in a few days. But the thing is, I think you got to get that first time in the parks, push the buttons, reschedule things a few times on the fly. And then you're like, okay, it makes sense. But I think a lot of things don't make sense till you interact with them. I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, you getting that hands-on experience, because you see so many people worried on, Facebook pages about this is really confusing. I don't get it. And then after you use it once, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Because if you read a lot of these posts, like blog posts and stuff about it, it sounds like rocket science. But then once you actually get that hands-on experience, it's so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, it takes them off the street. I can always, take a family from Ohio that's going to Walt Disney World for the very first time. You try to explain, okay, what's a lightning lane and what's a virtual queue, and you got to do these, this many days in advance. You only get 3, but then once you get 3, you can do a rolling one. They're just like, I just want to go ride rides, and there's, you can't do that. Well, you can, but you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, You're right. It seems like rocket science, but then you put that family, and I bet you by 2:00 in the afternoon, they're like, I get it. It's not that difficult. I mean, honestly, it's not. It's
really not once you get to actually have like the hands-on experience. It's really not that bad.
All right. So let's talk about your trip. So you went down in spring break this year, back in March. Caribbean Beach was the choice. Tropical.
Yes.
Like it.
Caribbean Beach is always our choice.
Always. Okay, why? Tell me why. Okay, well, I mean, of course, Skyliner. But I mean, does the theme hit you? I mean, are you guys tropical type people? Do you like, you guys have like Kokomo playing in the background at home or something?
We actually don't spend hardly much time at all at the resort. Like, we get up, we get ready, and we're at the park pretty much immediately. We don't even usually spend any time at the pools at all. We have plenty of pools here in Austin that we want to go to if we want to go swimming. So, and then we also do the ticket that has the water park option. So we always spend one day at one of the water parks because we stay usually for 7 or 8 days. It's kind of a long trip. So we do spend one of those days at water park. We also love being able to go over to the Riviera and use their food court. I say food court, their quick service.
Primo Piatto, baby.
Good. Yeah, really good. And finally, we tend to spend a lot of time at Epcot because, again, we do like food and we like the food booths and all that sort of stuff. So having that Skyliner station that goes straight, what's technically the Riviera station, but, hop there and you don't even have to do a connection to get straight to the International Gateway. We love that. So we usually request a room in Aruba because that's closest to the Riviera. Right.
Yep. So I always say if you're looking for a good spot to land at Caribbean Beach, think of the song Kokomo, Aruba, Jamaica.
Yes.
Those are the two they want to make you. I mean, I'm telling you, because those are the two right there close to this. They're between the Skyliner and the Riviera. Those are the two villages on that side of the lagoon. So real quick, what's the dynamic of the traveling party like for this trip?
So for this time it was just, my family. Like in the past, we've had other family members come with us, but this time it's just us. So my daughter at the time was 11, my son was 9, and then my husband and I. And we are relatively seasoned Disney travelers. We tend to go about every other year. So we sort of know what we're doing. Like I said, I am a little type A in the way I plan out things before. We listen to podcasts a lot. My kids love listening to it. And this time my husband got more involved, which was awesome.
Okay, I was like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because sometimes my wife's like, just just like take your hands off the wheel, man. I got this, and I'm like, you know what? Good, it's fine. You can drive.
Yeah, and in the past, I think I would have been a little bit more reluctant to involve him. I will be completely honest, but because we've gone so much, once you know the options so well, it's a lot easier to pivot during the day, which we did a lot of that this time. It was an unusual trip for us because it's usually like, okay, here's our schedule. We're going to be at Hollywood Studios, and then we're going to hop to Magic Kingdom at 1, and here's what we're doing. Here's what we're eating. And this time, although we had sort of a loose schedule, because my husband had also been more involved in planning, we did a lot of like, I don't feel like doing that today. Let's do something else. And because we had all been so involved in the planning, we knew what the options were and how to sort of change our plans. And that's something I hear so much in the Disney community. Like, you have to plan so far ahead. There's no flexibility. And I we did not find that at all on this trip.
So I agree with you that you can still have lots of spontaneity on a trip. You can still do a lot of stuff and really switch things up. But you do have to be willing to say, I'm not going to get on the e-ticket attraction. I'm not going to get on Guardians of the Galaxy just because I switched my plans today. Or I'm not maybe going to get Ratatouille in the next hour. I might have to really rework things to get like the newest and greatest. But if you're willing to switch it up and do things like Soarin', well, Test Track was still around,
right.
Whatever, Jungle Cruise or Pirates of the Caribbean or Space Mountain, like those kind of second tier attractions, you can still do all the spontaneity. It's, especially with this new Lightning Lane system, those things will be available all the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there were days that we were like, okay, we know that, like the first day we went to Epcot and we knew that the beginning of the trip was slightly before the rush of spring break. So like, we need to front load those brand new things. We need to front load Guardians. We need to front load Tron, whatever. We need to do that first, so that so the first part of the trip we were a little bit more strict, but by the end everything was so crowded. We didn't expect to get on Tron anyway. So like, do we really want to spend more time, or do we want to just dip out and go to Steakhouse 71 for the afternoon?
Yeah, that's the right answer right there. I'm telling you.
Yeah, right.
Steakhouse 71 every time. I mean, Tron lasts like 92 seconds, and a meal at Steakhouse 71 lasts forever in your memory. That,
exactly.
Good stuff. Okay, so you stayed at Caribbean Beach. Real quick about the kids, because I like that they listen to the show. When you said that, made me happy. I love when families can listen to the podcast together. That seriously is awesome. How much input do they have? Like when it comes to laying down the plans of like what you want to do, when do you? I'd imagine like maybe in car rides, you talk about it. Like, what do you want to do? It's like an informal thing, right? I mean, it makes the whole experience longer than just the week you're there or whatever, right?
Absolutely. When I take them to school every morning because we don't have a bus, so I have to take them. So we'd listen to the podcast and be like, oh, does that sound fun to you? And all that. So as we get closer, we talk about what is important to you on this trip. And so, for example, my daughter, the first day we were there, she's like, I want to do Pick-a-Pearl at Japan. I was like,
that was my oldest daughter's jam. She loved that thing. I have so many videos of they're playing the drums, and we got where those pearls are today. Not a clue, but man,
my daughter still wears it every day. Every day she wears it.
I'm gonna have to text her.
And I got one too. And so we had brought, like, here's a little tip: if somebody wants to do Pick-a-Pearl, you can go on Amazon and buy those pearl cage necklaces for a fraction of the price that they sell them at Epcot. So we had already bought ours.
Good tip. That's a good tip. I wish I'd known that back in like 2006, or something.
Yeah, I bet. But the pearl she got was so big, it didn't fit in the pearl cage that she bought.
Oh, wow.
So she's been using the pearl cage that I got for me. Whatever. I was happy for her that she got, such a big one.
So real quick, because I haven't done this literally probably 15 years. Because again, my oldest she's 27 and get ready to take her college basketball team to Barcelona tomorrow. So that's where we are. And she was like, yeah, when we used to do this. Did the crowd go wild when they found the big pearl? Like, was it like a big thing? Like, did they still like measure it and like,
oh yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah, that was the greatest.
No, Hope was like trying her best to find, quote, the oldest, crustiest oyster she could. She was strategic. She was thinking about it. It's like, how am I going to find the biggest one? She's like, I'm going to find the oldest oyster. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
So that's,
because we were both.
That was like a big to do.
That's why I'm so glad. That makes me so happy because Paige and I are so competitive, both of us, and I'm like, Paige, you gotta find the right. It's like The Price is Right or something, man. It's like gotta like that show that had all the suitcases, right? You gotta pick the right one, man, because I want the crowd to go wild, like And she did okay. Like they didn't go nuts. We didn't get we didn't get like, I was like, you gotta find one that's like the size of a football or something. Come on now.
No, Hope got a big one, but because it was the first day and because it was before the spring break crowds, there were like 2 other people in that store. I have never seen it that empty before or since. And the next day we went to the Magic Kingdom and we were in Frontierland, like 1 PM. I was like, where is everybody?
Don't
by the end
say
of the trip,
it out
we're like,
loud.
oh, here they are.
You said it out loud. That's the curse. That's what I was telling my wife.
Sorry. That's true. I should have said
as soon as my wife says something like that, I'm like, oh, you did not just say that out loud. Now there's going to be so many people we can't even get, we can't even go to whatever, Connections Cafe and get a slice of pizza. Exactly.
Right.
Thank you. Exactly.
That's part of why we did like we thought about what do we need to do at the beginning of the trip that we're not gonna be able to do at the end, because there's gonna be lots of people at the end. Like the first day we stayed to watch Luminous, and we rolled up to a great spot in Norway like 10 minutes before the show. And that didn't happen by the end of the trip. You know, you had to plan ahead, or else you're not going to be standing on the fence, which you can still see if you're not on the fence. But you know, when you have little kids, it's nice to have the view.
Well, you brought that up, so you got to see it right there. Good spot. What did you think of Luminous? Because I still have not seen it, because I was down there, but I was there for races, and you just can't stay up late. I mean, I could, but it'd be bad choice.
I mean, I liked it. It's no Illuminations, but I liked it better than Epcot Forever.
I like that. Okay, no, it's okay.
Yeah. So I liked it. It was good. It's not as good as Illuminations, not as good as Happily Ever After, but it was an enjoyable show.
It's good. It's good. I'm glad to hear it, because I think those different shows that Epcot's bringing around are connecting with people in different ways. And I think that these newer shows like post-COVID and stuff and post-Illuminations, they are kind of going to the folks that have the core memories with the movies from like the last decade. And this isn't Disney's fault that I don't watch the movies, because Disney's a movie company, right? I mean, if I'm standing in Epcot, they're assuming that Mike Rallman is probably a Disney movie fan, right? Because I'm at a Disney theme park.
Right.
So I am kind of the outlier. I'm the exception to the rule, where Illuminations didn't have any IP or anything like that. It was just kind of a global, we all feel good. It's almost like you're saying like at the Olympics opening ceremony or something, right? I mean, just like, you know, this is all mankind.
When they still had Illuminations, we went to when they had the Frozen dessert party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we took the kids to that, and the kids were super excited about the Frozen dessert party. But I mean, that was a while ago, but they didn't connect really at all with the show itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so, I know, because it wasn't as flashy for sure. It was just, but man, that music, that soundtrack.
Oh, it gets me every time.
Oh, I'm telling you, I played that for my sixth graders for years, every day when they came in from recess to calm them down. That and Tapestry of Nations, and that's my jam. Wow. So anyway, all right, so let's talk about the trip though. So let's just kind of not go day by day, but let's go theme park highlights. So you guys did all the theme parks. You used Genie Plus to your advantage. What stood out? Because again, I like the strategy though. If you knew the crowds were going to build, because you were building towards people coming down for spring break, but what else did you discover? And like, what did you do anything for the first time? Did you do anything that surprised you in the theme parks?
Yeah, we did. Because we've been so many times, we're sort of trying to think of what we don't want the same trip every time, So we did Pick a Pearls first time I did that. Also, my daughter loves to draw. And so she wanted to do the drawing thing. I can't remember what they call it, but at Animal Kingdom. So you have to take the train, to Rafiki's Planet Watch.
And people, I bet you nobody got. I'm guilty of that. I haven't been back there in forever. Oh my gosh!
So, I don't remember the last time we went. And
the train is actually a treat to ride. The train itself, just ride the train.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
but we never get back there. And my son loves a petting zoo, so that was perfect because he does not like to draw. So my husband took him to the petting zoo. And I like to draw, so I took my daughter to the drawing thing. But I'll tell you, so like we were cutting it real close because we had done like Navi River Journey, and then we went on the safari, and we could hear the train. We're like, oh, we got to hurry, because if we don't make this class, the next one wasn't till like 2, and it was going to mess up our afternoon plans. And I do not suggest running in a theme park. Nope. So we were power walking.
Yes. Yeah. As you have not heard Friday's show yet, because this is out of sequence, but we will tell you the person to talk to on Friday's podcast.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Dave just Lawrence.
Walking real fast, and like Hope and I were sweating by the time we get to that thing, like all the way back, and apparently we're not the only people to do this, because there was a cast member standing right there with paper and a pencil, handed it to us. They're like, drawing classes that way, so they knew that they had those latecomers straggling in, but we made it.
What'd you get to draw?
It's got Pluto.
Oh, one of my favorites.
It was really fun. Yeah, it was. I'm not great at drawing cartoon anything, but they're very good at teaching. And Hope's and mine both, especially hers, because she draws a lot more than I do, came out really well. So don't be afraid to try that, because that was something new that we did that we really loved.
That's why I love the show, because people might not even know, or I think people most people probably know Rafiki's Planet Watch is in the back of Animal Kingdom, but it's probably not even in the hardcore fans. Like, you know, probably not even thinking about going back there. You say, oh, there's a train in Animal Kingdom? Like, most people probably, oh, yeah, I forgot about that 10 years ago. Was the last time I got on that train. And it's a sideways sitting train.
Free 30-minute drawing class. Free. You know, there's not many extra activities you can do at Disney that are included in the rest of the price. So that's also nice.
And so far, if I get my words out correct, you've said 2 very cool souvenirs already. The Pick a Pearl is a very unique souvenir. You know, it's not just your typical, you know, ears or t-shirt or whatever.
Right.
And this is something you and your daughter created. I mean, it was a free one too. Like you know, you have a drawing, you can take it home, throw it in a frame from Walgreens, and you got a memory from that trip. You know, put the date.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My son got a cool souvenir too. So he really loves Oswald, and you know, we looked everywhere for Oswald stuff, but they had phased pretty much all of it out after the 50th. Yeah. What was that for? The 100th. Sorry, that was for the 100th that they had Oswald back. And since that celebration was over, all the stuff was sort of gone. And I figured our best chance would be at Hollywood Studios, and we just like ping-ponged all over the park because that was the only souvenir he asked for the entire trip was Oswald. And finally, at the very front of that park, you know, if you're looking at the gates, outside the gates, there's that little gift shop over to your left. And they had like 3 or 4 plushy Oswalds. So we finally got them.
So then you're running again.
Everywhere. Yes.
Make sure nobody gets those last 3 Oswalds.
Pretty much. So it was, it was a successful trip from the point of souvenirs, that's for sure. Because everybody got the thing they wanted. That
is super cool. So what about you mentioned Tron? You guys go down a lot. Is it first time with Tron, or just fans of the attraction, or what?
It was our first time with Tron. We mostly loved it. My husband hates thrill rides, but what he hates more is not all staying together during the trip. So like, he doesn't want to sit out, even if we go on a ride that he doesn't think he's not going to like. He's going to go with us anyway. He wants to experience it with us and all that. So we all went on Tron. And he actually was like, that was kind of fun because it was smooth. It wasn't like have like a strong, like, even though it has a launch start, there wasn't that strong G-force because that's what gives him that bad headache in a lot of rides. So needless to say, he hated Guardians.
See, I'm the same way. And the thing I think too is Guardians is a little bit longer. Like Tron ends like right when I'm about to hit the wall, right? It's like when it's over, I'm like, thank God. Like a lot of people say, oh, Tron's too short. I'm like, where I'm at in my life, like Tron is just right. Like I got a good thrill. It was cool. It was pretty. It was fun. Like, okay, good. I got my money's worth. Like I'm fine. Like people like,
that's exactly how he felt.
Nope.
Like that was enough of that.
Exactly.
But he's like, but if we get another lightning lane, he's like, but you know, if you can get the virtual queue again, I would go on it again. I'm like, okay, great. After the one for Guardians, he's like, please don't make me do that again. I was like, that's fine. You are a good sport. But it didn't make him nauseated, but that whole, like that intense downward force and sort of like sideways spinning.
It's wild.
It was a little rough on him.
It's like being in a washing machine going through space or something, man. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I get it. Like if you have no issues with motion, like it's got to be the coolest thing in the history of the world because of visuals and the music. I mean, like you got Earth, Wind, and Fire jamming at you, or
oh, it was awesome.
Oh my God, it's the best. I mean, I get it. I know why everybody like comes off. That's greatest. I totally get it. But I mean, it's just like it messes me up. Like I'm just like, oh my God, I want to be an astronaut. I don't think so. If that's what it would be like if we get out of control, I'm done. Exactly.
Yeah, I was worried about him going on that because I had heard a lot of things, and I warned him. He's like, no, I'll try it. It's like, okay.
Good
great.
Sport. I did the same thing, right? I did it at the media event one time. Like, I mean, we could ride it as much as we wanted for like 8 hours. Like, we got a big window. Like, you can ride this as much as you want. I rode it one time because I was there with Pam Forrester, and she's like, I'm not riding it. I'm like, dude, I thought we're riding it together. It's just like a media thing. Like, you and I taking a selfie on this brand new ride before it opens. She's like, nope, that's why I brought you. I'm like, I don't even want to ride this thing. She's like, you are riding it. That's why you're here. So I went on it one time, and they're like, going again? Like, you don't have to get off. I'm like,
nope.
Get the seat off me. I'm like, at least I got to recover. I'm like, I got to at least get some fresh air. That thing was, I was like, it was wild, but I got to breathe.
Yeah.
And then I just kept thinking about, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I saw it.
But
then I did do it again with my kids because we went back and they had never done it. And I'm like, maybe it was just that day. No, it wasn't just that
No,
day.
just
I was
that
like,
day.
thing went like 10 feet. And I'm like, oh my God, I was right. It was terrible. Oh, here we go again. And
Why'd
so
I do this?
Yeah, it's like, I thought I loved my daughters that much. I don't, let me off. I would know what
Oh yeah, my husband's like, I love our children, but not enough to do that again. I'm like, that's
exactly
that's
what I
fair.
was saying. That's like, I love them, but they can write it by themselves.
That's enough.
I don't need to write. I don't need the picture that bad. I don't need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so what about the other parks besides doing Tron
Sure.
and Guardians,
Yeah.
kind of those things?
So we put Animal Kingdom also towards the beginning of our trip because we have learned from past trips, if we know we want to do these experiences, we need to put it at the front of the trip, because otherwise by the end of the trip we're getting tired and oh well, maybe we can just skip it and then we regret it. So we made sure to do Tron and Guardians at the beginning, and then also to do the drawing school and that sort of stuff. And then, like I said, we did go to Blizzard Beach, and we'd never done that before.
See, I want to talk about that, but so let's jump in there, because I haven't been to a water park in ages, and I used to love them, but they were included with the tickets back in the day. But you had them on your tickets,
Not anymore, but but my husband loves a water park, and I like them too. I mean, that's not to love. So last time we went, we did Typhoon Lagoon, which we liked, but like we may as well try a different one this time. So we did Blizzard Beach, and we liked it better. We liked that the wave pool had waves, but not ones that would like knock you over and suck you down.
Well, so people don't know. So the difference between the wave pools at Blizzard and Typhoon. Okay, so Typhoon has like one tsunami wave every like 5 minutes, and like a horn will go off and go, and then all you hear whoosh, and this big old wave it destroys everybody in the pool. I mean, just whoom, just knocks 8-year-old kids flying, sunglasses go fly. I lost 2 pair of sunglasses in like a couple of years of that thing. But Blizzard Beach, what it has, the difference there is the wave pool, it's more of a continuous waves. It's like you're
like
always
gentle.
Yeah, you're always like bobbing, like a bobber kind of thing.
Yeah, so we liked that better because when we were at Typhoon Lagoon, I lost a substantial amount of skin off my knees because I was standing like in knee-deep water, not that deep, and that wave went off and I was not ready, and it pushed me over, and so that didn't feel great. But anyway, so obviously I hold a grudge, and we like Blizzard.
A lot of people have grudges against that wave machine at Typhoon Lagoon. I'm saying,
but they also have it's not just even like a little kid area. I think they have that too, but they have sort of a preteen area. So the water features are like a little bit bigger, and they have like an obstacle course and that sort of stuff. And our kids were like right on point for the right ages for them to sort of just hang out in there. And there's, I think if I remember correctly, sort of not one way in, one way out, but it's hard to get out without your parents like noticing if you're paying attention. And our kids loved that. They would have stayed there forever, I think, if we would have let them.
Was it still that area that kind of had, I'm trying to remember, because I think this is where we spent a ton of time too when Paige was about that age, where it had like little icebergs that were kind of like lily pads you could go across, and there was like a flying fox. Like
there's like a zip line.
Yeah, like zip line. Like, like they use on Survivor, right? You get on that, and then at the end, like the kids hit the zip line comes to an end, and the kids go flying, bam, down into the water.
Which is really fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my wife and I would just like, Paige be in line to do it, and we just had a good time watching all the kids. Because I mean, some of those kids would get going a million miles an hour, and they'd hit that thing, and they'd go flying, do their butts be like up. They do backflip because they weren't expecting it. Because they were going so fast. I mean, it was like wild. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody needs to tell those kids. They're like upside down. Yeah, it was like watching train wrecks. Yeah, no, it's a cool little area because you're right. It's not little kitty. It was more like that preteen,
that middle area. Yeah, so we really liked that. We ended up getting not an umbrella or something, but you can rent like a beach chair or whatever. And it was in an area that's like on the basically opposite side of the park as the preteen area, but like you could sort of like leave your stuff over there and all that. So it was nice to have sort of a home base to go back to and not worry as much about where we're going to put all our nonsense for all day. We still got a locker for like our phones and stuff because it's Disney, but we still are cautious.
It's the world. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Still $1,000.
So, but we had a place for our towels and, sunscreen and, at one point I went back there and I laid down in the chair. I took a nap for like 30 minutes in the shade. It was great.
What are you doing? That's what you're supposed to do on vacation.
Exactly.
We never do that at Walt Disney World. We're always going.
I know, but that was like day
perfect.
4, and I was already like, honey, I just, because I like to nap anyway.
Yeah,
so I'm
me
like,
too.
I just need like 30 minutes, and I promise I will be in a much better mood. 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. I'll be great.
Oh my God, yes. You took a vacation for 30 minutes at Walt Disney World. You win. Oh, that is so good. Okay, so I want to make sure we get all this in. So I want to talk a little dining. I'll switch it up here because you guys did some cool dining.
Yes.
Thinking back, okay, it's been a few months. So I'm not even going to pull any of these because you gave me some notes. But what is the one dining experience you would say still sticks out the most? Because you did some cool stuff. You did some signature stuff. You did some kind of thematic theme park dining. You also did, I don't know. So what do you want to talk about?
I'm going to pull up ham. I'm going to choose 2.
No, go for it. I mean, yeah, 2 or 3. Let's do it.
So one is there was like this orange saffron cake that they had in the Morocco kiosk pavilion thing for Flower and Garden. That is, I think, the best dessert I've ever had in my life. Oh. I mean, it was amazing. My husband doesn't even like sweets, and even he wanted to go back multiple times to get it. I mean, it was incredible. It was not too sweet. There wasn't overpowering flavor of saffron. It was cold, so it was refreshing. It was amazing. So if anybody sees that next year at Flower and Garden, do not sleep on that one.
One more time. Where was it and what was it called?
Morocco.
Okay.
Morocco. The orange saffron cake. It looks sort of like a bundt cake.
Oh, see, that sounds good to me. I think I will find myself down there during Flower and Garden next year. So I am taking notes this time.
Make sure you try it.
Dessert is my jam. So there we go. I got you. Okay, I got you. Morocco.
So good. I think the other one that sort of surprised me was Ale and Compass. I had eaten there before years ago. But we were, I think, on the dining plan at the time. And so we and the kids were much smaller. So we were trying to we were like more restricted to what we were trying to order to make sure everybody would actually eat. And this time we had tried to go to Sunshine Seasons and it was closed completely. So we're like, well, now what do we want to do? We're too tired to like walk around the world. So we looked online and Ale and Compass had some right away. So we're like, let's give it a try because we're already by the International Gateway. And the food was phenomenal. The service was outstanding. The atmosphere was, energetic without being too loud. Right. I mean, it was great. I would definitely go back there again. But the other thing I will say is when we were looking to see where we wanted to eat, I mean, like it was like 20 minutes till, and there were ones for Be Our Guest, for Ohana, for Cinderella's Royal Table. Like, so if you're looking for those big ones, don't give up.
Yeah, I'm so glad you bring that up because we stress about all these ADRs, right? At 60 days, at 30 days, at 15 days. Like, my vacation's ruined because I couldn't get, like I said, couldn't get into Be Our Guest, or I couldn't get into Kona or Ohana or, whatever, Steakhouse 71. And inevitably, and Scott talks about this a lot too, because he's like the master, especially now that you can cancel up to 2 hours before your reservation. That is what that has done, that has opened up a lot of last minute availability. So even that morning, like get out of bed, even while you're on the bus, head to the Magic Kingdom from Pop Century, whatever, just roll through and just be like, okay, just hit dinner, because you always have that option dinner. I like to pick a time. I think I get better availability if I pick 6, 6 o'clock and just see what they got and then just switch it to 6:30 or whatever. But you're shocked, like, oh my God, I haven't seen that restaurant available for I've been looking for 45 days and now I got 3 choices. I got 3 choices tonight. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
We rolled into our trip only with sci-fi and a dessert party booked. And we ate at Ale and Compass. We ate at Narcoossee's. We ate at Whispering Canyon. Ate at all sorts of different sit-down places. And I don't think we ever booked them more than like an hour, hour and a half out. We're like, hey, that sounds fun. Like, that's supposed to be a really good place to eat. Let's try that. Le Cellier. We got Le Cellier, I think 15 minutes before we sat down. So it was great.
So how do your kids do at places like Le Cellier and Narcoossee's?
Oh, very well. They'll eat pretty much anything. My daughter doesn't like anything spicy, but other than that, I mean, they like sushi, they like pizza, they like steak. They'll eat anything.
Oh, see, my kids, man, they're chicken nugget eaters.
Mine used to be, but it's not quite as bad as it. When they were little, it was a struggle, man, to get them to eat anything other than cheese and those little. But eventually, they grew out of it. So
what was the tip, you think, for folks maybe that are trying to want to expand their kids' palate to try places? Because, I mean, I think that is something that Walt Disney World, and I tried this on cruises, but it still never works because I always say, on a cruise, we've already paid for all the food. Try something new. You know, if you don't like it, who cares? We're not paying for it. They still don't do it. It drives me nuts.
I mean, I think it's just like the normal parenting thing of it's like, you have to try it. You don't have to like it. And if you don't like it, we'll get you your nuggets or your pizza or whatever.
Good tip.
That for us, that helped because it took like the power struggle out of it, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
And then eventually they're like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. And, you know, I'm not dropping them in the deep end with steak tartare when they're 6, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It's baby steps.
Here's a California roll. That's all you're having for the next week. And
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Like this. I mean, that's what I'd do. But I mean, that's what I'd have myself. I only get seafood when I'm on a cruise because my family cannot stand it. They're so simple in their palate, but that's okay. I love them anyway. That's just how it is.
Exactly.
So, but we got Narcoossee's because that's Scotty G's. That's his jam. He loves that place. I mean, I think he might own a share or two of that place because he loves it so much. Was it a good experience for you guys?
It was incredible. I mean, it was so good. I didn't pick it in my top 2 just because I expected it to be so good, and it lived up to all the expectations. The atmosphere was beautiful. You know, we sat by the window because we got a pretty early reservation. So we were there at like 5 p.m., you know, and looking out over the Magic Kingdom and the water and watching the boats. You know, it was such a perfect moment. Service was great. I mean, I think the meal was on the longer side, but I mean, that's on us for ordering so much, you know. I would definitely go back there again. I mean, it was amazing. It was what we had hoped from a signature experience. Le Cellier also lived up to that mediocre review that you sort of hear. Mm-hmm. It was okay. It's fine. The beer cheese soup is amazing, which we knew. But I don't think I'd go out of my way to go back there. I would go out of my way to go back to Narcoossee's.
There you go. And Scotty G is tuned in live, and he is happy you said that. So there you go. It made somebody up in East Lansing's day. I can tell you that much right now. So,
well, maybe I shouldn't have said it because that's going to be even harder to get in.
That's true. That's the power of the podcast. It's you got to be careful how you wield that power here. We got to be careful. Right. Just kidding. It does not matter. But okay, so just a couple other things. You mentioned in the pre-show, I got to ask you about this. That there was, we're just talking, you saw a failed proposal. And when I hear about these kind of things, because I didn't get the details because I wanted to wait till we were recording. So, I mean, is it something you want to share as a story? Because, I mean, I've seen lots of proposals at Walt Disney World, and I mean, I think they've all been successful. Most of them during Run Disney events, you know, like at Castle and stuff, but
I've seen successful, not many, but I've definitely seen successful proposals at Disney World. And it was at Narcoossee's. So like we were sitting right by the window, sort of like halfway through our meal, and we noticed that there's Trouble in Paradise at the table, like a couple over. And we noticed like the ring box, and the girl starts to cry and got up and left and just left him there. So whoever that guy was, I am very sorry to hear about. I mean, it was rough. Man. So, but I mean, testament to how good the food at Narcoossee's is. He stayed and finished his meal.
Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me.
So,
that's what he was saying to whatever the steak tartare, whatever they serve at Narcoossee's. I don't know what it is, but I don't know the souls. I think that's at Topolino's. I don't know. Yeah. That must have been a great meal, dude. I
guess
his whole life just went down the tubes, and he stayed.
And he's like, "Well, I guess I'll just eat."
My God, that is like I cannot wait to stop recording the show and tell my wife that story that he finished his meal.
Yep. I mean, the food is really good, and I guess if you've already ordered it, you got to pay for it. So,
oh my God,
may as well eat.
A man, his plate, and he's sitting there with just a ring on the other side of the table.
Yeah, it was a sad state of affairs, but I don't know.
Oh, mercy me! I'm glad we got that here on the show because it's hard to get new stories after 16 years.
Oh,
and that's one of the top 10 right there, I think, in the history of the show, right? That's a good one. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, so we got to wrap. We're going a little bit long, but one last memory from this trip, because you guys go a lot, and I think kind of the thing is with every Disney trip, there's always something that kind of comes up, usually positive. Sometimes it can be a negative thing, but sometimes a negative turns into a positive. But what do you remember, a few months now, that sticks out from this trip? Was like a lesson learned or a special thing that happened during the trip, something like that?
It's always so hard when you ask these questions. I feel like on the spot. One like just special moment was, or lesson / moment. Because we pivoted so much during this trip, we were so much more flexible. I think we had more fun being more flexible. Just like saying, yeah, we had planned to do A, B, and C today, but you know what sounds more fun is doing whatever. And so like one night we were at Epcot, like, you know what? We're tired. Let's just go. So we left and we sat on the beach at Caribbean Beach, and you can sort of see the fireworks from the beach. So we just like sat on the beach and had a snack and just relaxed. Went back to the hotel room, watched Bluey, and went to bed. And we were in bed by like 10, which for us is early for this kind of trip. And, you know, it was just a good learning experience that sometimes it's okay to just slow down a little bit and remember you might be at Disney World, but you are still on vacation.
True.
So if you're tired and just need to like slow down and have a little less stimulation, just spend some time with your family, just do it.
But it's 100% a mindset thing, right? Because the thing is, you could be totally giving yourself FOMO while you're back at the hotel and not saying, you know what, I need to enjoy where my feet are right now. And I'm thankful that I am not in a crowded theme park. I'm thankful that I'm going to get a full night's rest, which I need maybe after 4, 5, 6 days of going, getting up early, just, you know, putting 40,000 steps on my feet that I normally don't do. Like, you are setting yourself up for success. You are giving yourself a vacation. You're giving yourself exactly what you need by being back at your hotel, maybe at 8 o'clock at night, and watching something in the resort room, watching a movie, and just enjoying the family all on the bed. You know, like, that's vacation too. But it is a mindset thing, because I think like all of a sudden, I mean, because I get this on the race weekends, right? That I try to go to bed early, especially for like the marathon and the half marathon, longer races. You've been there. And like, you know, I stay at Pop Century, and all of a sudden, boom, you know, the fireworks go off at Epcot, you know, and you hear them at the Magic Kingdom. And so you're laying in bed, you're just like, like
I could be there. Yeah. You gotta give yourself permission to be on vacation, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something I have definitely battled in the past. I feel like we made significant progress on this trip. Cause we did, like, there were some mornings we slept in, and I say slept in to like 9, you know, which for us,
you're not like Ricky sleeping in's like noon. Yeah. But that's acceptable.
So, that's just the way we usually roll. Like we're there early and we stay late. And so it was on this trip, it was nice to sort of just pump the brakes a little and give ourselves time to decompress and be together.
That's what it's all about, really. It is. I mean, we say it's a ton, but it's about the people you're with and the memories you're making every trip. I mean, it's not about the amount of attractions you do, or, you know, it's not about a checklist. And I think that is what it is on our first trips. And like, you know, you've been many times, I've been many times, a lot of our listeners have been many times. We're very blessed to get to do that. And I think that it takes, just like anything in life, right? It takes more experiences to get to that point where you can do what you did and go back and say, it's cool to not stay till park close. It's the better decision for our family. Yeah. But you can't do that on your first trip. Your first trip, you cannot do that. You just will not. You won't do it.
Yeah, there's just too much. You just run around way too much. Exactly. I agree.
Like, I can't do it. Well, Rebecca, what a great trip. And I mean, you had the story. I cannot believe that story about the proposal. That is just boggling my mind still.
We felt for the guy.
Oh my gosh. I want to write the guy I want to give the guy a gift card or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet he never goes back to Narcoossee's.
No, probably not. You know, and of course, even then, like that night we had the dessert party. We're like, well, let's go watch some fireworks and eat some dessert while this poor person is.
He'll probably never go back to the Grand Floridian. I mean, maybe Walt Disney World. I might not even go back to Florida. I don't even know where he's from. Yeah. That's just
that was rough.
That was rough. Well, hey, Rebecca, I mean, you got a lot of people changing lanes, driving off the road here today on a Monday. So, I mean, well done. So, hey, thanks for taking the time. No, it's great. That's the show's about having fun. Yeah. That's what we do. So, thanks for coming on the show. And when's your next trip? I'm sure you guys have something planned, right?
We're not sure yet. I think I have a work conference. Well, I know I have a work conference in Orlando this next March/April, but they haven't announced yet what hotel the conference is in.
Pop Century.
So,
no, just kidding. Coronado.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it's not then, hopefully soon thereafter.
Yeah. Well, cool. We'll talk again. I appreciate it. So you guys have a great fall down in Texas, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Y'all too.
All right, don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details this happy Monday over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you buy all that back-to-school stuff. Oh my gosh, teachers, my bad. Shouldn't have said that. It's still July. When you buy all that summer stuff, because it's still summer, use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. My wife might let me back in the house after that because I can't talk back to school. I can't do it. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. Can't thank you enough for that. It's just $5 a month, and our Patreon supporters get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. We'd love to have your support this week. Come on over, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. And the place you'll find me the most is our Clubhouse. It's free. There's no ads. There's no nonsense. It's just a bunch of Disney fans talking real time, all the time, from all around the world. It's amazing. And just come over to the Clubhouse, their Discord server. Just go to beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse, and I'll give you a personal welcome when you drop in. It's like cheers. All right, so we'll be looking for you at Sunday night. Scott will join me. We'll take your calls, turn the show over to you. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. All right, we'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. You have a question, get it in quick. Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. But until then, for Rebecca down in Austin, I'm Mike here in St. Peters, Missouri. You guys have a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.